This is the story of a man who looked completely ordinary. A quiet father. A husband. A neighbor no one would suspect. But in August 2018, that image shattered. This is the case of Chris Watts. From the outside, the Watts family looked ideal. Chris Watts lived in Frederick, Colorado, with his pregnant wife Shanann and their 2 young daughters. On social media, everything seemed happy. Birthday celebrations, vacations, smiling family photos. Shanann often posted videos of their life together. Chris appeared quiet, calm, even reserved. To friends and neighbors, they were normal. But sometimes what you see online isn't the full story. Behind the scenes, there were financial struggles. The couple had declared bankruptcy in the past. There were reports of tension in the marriage. And while Shanann was visiting, family out of state during the summer of 2018, something changed. Chris began seeing someone else. He started talking about wanting a new life. Without responsibility. Without pressure. Without his family. On August 13, 2018, Shanann returned home from a business trip in the early morning hours. Later that day, she missed a doctor's appointment. She wasn't answering calls. She wasn't replying to messages. This was unusual. A friend grew concerned and contacted police. When officers arrived at the Watts home, Chris claimed he had no idea where his wife and daughters were. He said they had an emotional conversation. He said she left with the kids. But something felt off. There were no signs of struggle, no clear evidence of a forced departure. And Chris seemed unusually calm. Police asked to see surveillance footage from a neighbor's camera. Chris stood beside an officer as they reviewed the video. The footage showed Chris backing his truck into the driveway early that morning and loading something into it. As the video played, Chris became visibly uncomfortable. He put his hands on his head. He shifted his weight. He avoided eye contact. It was subtle, but investigators noticed. That moment would later be replayed millions of times online. Shortly after, Chris gave a television interview outside his home. He looked directly into the camera. He pleaded for his wife and daughters to return. He said he loved them. He said he just wanted them safe. But viewers felt something was missing. There were no tears, no visible panic, just words, and a smile that to some didn't match the situation. Within days, public suspicion began to grow. Police continued questioning Chris. They examined phone records. They discovered he had been in a relationship with a coworker. He had told her he was separated. He had talked about starting over. Investigators confronted him with inconsistencies in his timeline. The pressure built. Eventually, Chris agreed to take a polygraph test. He failed. After hours of questioning, he confessed, but not fully. At first, he claimed Shanann had harmed their children, and in a rage, he responded, but that story fell apart. Soon after, he admitted the truth. He had killed his wife and his 2 daughters. According to his confession, an argument escalated in the early morning hours. Afterward, he loaded his truck and drove to a remote oil site where he worked. The location was isolated. There he attempted to hide what he had done. The details shocked the nation. It wasn't just the crime. It was how controlled he appeared afterward. He went to work. He texted casually. He gave interviews as if nothing had happened. Why? That question still lingers. Financial stress may have played a role. Marital tension may have contributed. But many believe the primary motive was simple. He wanted a new life, free from responsibility, free from obligation, free from consequences. Except consequences eventually come. On August 15, 2018, Chris Watts was arrested. The story spread rapidly across news outlets and social media. People replayed his interview. They analyzed his body language. They compared photos of the perfect family to the reality of what happened. The contrast was chilling. In November 2018, Chris Watts pleaded guilty to multiple counts of murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. There would be no long trial. No extended courtroom drama. Just a quiet admission of guilt. He is currently serving his sentence in a high-security prison. True crime stories are common. But this one struck differently because there were no warning signs visible to the public. No criminal history. No obvious violent pattern. Just a neighbor. A coworker. A father. The fear this case triggered wasn't just about violence. It was about normality. About how someone can appear ordinary while hiding something unimaginable. Experts have debated his personality traits. Some suggest narcissistic tendencies. Some point to emotional detachment. Others believe he avoided confrontation until pressure reached a breaking point. But perhaps the most disturbing part is this. There wasn't rage captured on camera. There wasn't chaos. There was stillness. And sometimes stillness can be more unsettling than anger. Millions watched the body cam footage. Millions debated his expressions. Was he nervous? Guilty? Or just socially awkward? The internet dissected every blink and every pause because humans want answers. We want to believe we can spot danger. We want to think we would know. But cases like this challenge that belief. The Chris Watts case is not just about crime, it's about perception. About how social media can present a perfect image while reality fractures behind closed doors. It's about how someone can stand in front of cameras, ask for help and already know the truth. And maybe the most unsettling part of all, if someone like this can appear so normal, how well do we really know the people around us?